I have made a big mistake. I decided to introduce a substantial colony of army ants into my perfectly balanced and huge ecosystem vivarium that has fascinated us in many updates before. It contains more than 7 ant colonies, lots of other animals, and even a mighty termite empire. This episode will be crazy, mysterious, and sad. But don't forget to overview this episode with understanding, critical thinking, and fascination for what we as humans call nature, as we watch together until the very end. Whoops, sorry for the dramatic intro. It was quite enjoyable to edit though, so sorry not sorry I guess. Nevertheless, we're now taking a dive into a failure of mine that recently happened. Yeah, Nordic ants failed, but it was a big fail, sorry. I decided to share it with you, not because of views, but because I want to remain the transparency of this channel as the intermediary between the audience and their beloved vivarium. I also think we will learn something from this video as well, so why not dive right into it? Okay, so it all began in a vivarium far, far away. In it, the dinosaur ants are building without delay. Construction materials and food are gathered by all inhabitants, and almost no one has time to play. Except the millipede, that as asexual organisms can be called gay. Continuing, the biodiversity within welcomes animals of every kin, even those who claim they are masters in violin. In the pond lives water bugs, without even a single dorsal fin. And they all act together as my natural trash bin. But what would happen if they all got a new neighbor within? It might be a game of chance, because I won't introduce harmless plants, but a colony of bloody army ants. I will now end my rhyming before all my viewers starts crying. Anyways, you shall not shed any more tears, as we together will prepare this vivarium for its new host. Let's keep the same tune rolling, I enjoyed it. As you can see, the vivarium is green, very green. I bet more green than your garden has ever been. This prospers many organisms inside, but some not, and I am constantly worried that the tank will lose biodiversity if I don't regularly change things and conditions. And I also think it will be more resilient for the army ant introduction. Have a close look into this now very dense jungle. The dinosaur ants sure seem to enjoy it, and also here would be a wider shot of the vivarium. I will try to uncover this in a future video for you guys, because you ask about it a lot. But now, let's trim these hirsute lands. First, I clean the walls from snail poop. Those damn snails sure poops a lot in this vivarium. I'd sure be sorry if you saw snail poop instead of the ants inside when I'm filming this epic introduction as well, so let's take care of that. Then I cleaned the dried up pond from ex-submarine debris that could infect or murken the water within. Afterwards, I become my vivarium's personal barber as I cut an endless amount of plants and other protruding things that has emerged from the vivarium soil. And this is like cleaning your room, because you always encounter cool stuff that you didn't know you had, like these stunning arboreal termite tunnels. Thing is that they are situated on the entirely opposite side of the vivarium where the termites are nested, so this is quite far for them. Unfortunately, they were abandoned. And to my surprise, I saw huge mealybug farm sites that were occupied by the Argentine ants. They had their own farm with cattle high up in the tree crowns. As you can see, it might be hard to distinguish the mealybugs, but they are there. Cool, isn't it? Some animals now also became exposed, just like this termite worker that is dangerously far from her sisters. Let's hope that no ants detects her. I could also notice that an ant species had decided to surface because of the new changes. These small red ants were probably hoping to catch an unadapted individual. It is so cool to notice your unknown species react to your vivarium stimulations in a positive way. Unfortunately for the termite worker, you might have guessed what happened. And the dinosaur ants reflected a lot of excitement for the new space. Maybe a little bit too much, actually. Then, as usual, I filled the pond with water. And as the water level rises subterraneously all around the vivarium, the dinosaur ants probably got one of their chambers submerged. But that should be no problem for any tropical ant species in a natural setup. And that was it. The vivarium was now ready. One calm and quiet morning, I decided to introduce the colony of army ants. I had raised a queen to some few workers that I then had introduced to more workers that they had accepted, and so on. I was happy because I was finally going to respect my audience's will from way back to introduce this vivarium to a horde of army ants. For science, guys. I had placed the colony in a temporary setup overnight below the vivarium. I remembered how weird I was feeling at this point. My heart was pounding as I was filled with excitement and curiosity of what would happen next. But it also scared me of how this would unfold. The army ants were now loose. They began to explore the vivarium. They formed extensive trails and explored everything around them. They even started to consume my olive oil barrier. How's this gonna go? Then I saw it, their new chosen nest space. How cool was this? They had chosen to live under a log just by the pond. Perfect for filming. I now decided to introduce Her Majesty as well. But that's when I saw it. Her daughters had decided to decapitate her legs overnight. Ugh! It has gone so well for so long, and just at the finish line they decided to screw it up. As the introduction already was ongoing, I could just hope that this three-legged queen would survive in a closed chamber protected by her colony. But the odds were against her. My vivarium was definitely no haven for weak individuals. Unfortunately for her. She pushed her way through the vivarium with only a few daughters by her side. It was quite heartbreaking to see, but she had some fire within her, this one. She was headed for the nest, and I actually suspect and hope they got her inside overnight. A week later, I started to notice how the ants acted strangely. Before they formed exploration trails all over the vivarium floor, but they never integrated themselves into the vivarium. They minded their own stuff as the neighbors did their usual business, eating lots of good food. This was not the case for the army ant colony that started to circle the vivarium in great numbers. Endlessly. Majors were at it too. What was this for? I knew that if they were trying to escape because of not enough space, they could climb the glass as they did before. So this was something else. Then it came to me. Oh my god, had I created an ant mill? An ant mill is a phenomena whereby the army ants lose their pheromone track and begin forming circular tracks, instead as they follow one each other endlessly until death of exhaustion. What was I supposed to do now? I had an army ant mill happening inside my bloody tank. And the minority of ants that weren't doing this weird dance around my vivarium didn't even bother to forage. Here you can see another ant colony that without any problem got this piece of fresh termite queen. Something must have happened. I have never seen army ants like this. These army ants even contest bigger army ants in the jungle sometimes. And just to show you how notorious these bigger army ants are, you can see that fly flying by the head of the gecko. Well, the army ants caught it mid-air. Isn't that fascinating? You see it struggling over there? And here you can see them carry the flying fly away. Look at that ferocity. Wow. Our army ants aren't even intimidated by such ferocity. They already started to reconquer the crushed gecko without hesitation. The bigger ones form ranks to keep them away, but it's only temporary, as they are all awaiting huge reinforcements soon. Even the smaller ones are getting cockier. Look at that one. Only God knows how this war ended. But why were these guys so clearly uninterested in foraging for food? I also tried unsuccessfully to save the ants caught in their own antmill, but no. I now had to be away for a week, so I left these guys to take care of themselves, hoping that the vivarium would accept them, and that they accepted the vivarium as well. As I came back, the vivarium was doing well, but there was no signs of the army ants within. Although I noticed an enormous hole. Must be the work of the skink or maybe the scorpion that I introduced a while ago. I fed the vivarium on various sites, and the hungry ant colonies all surfaced aggressively in order to feast. But not the army ants. I can only presume for now that they did not make it in this vivarium. I am so sorry, but it could have been worse in the case that the vivarium did not make it through the rule of the army ants instead, the other way around. And I am so thankful for that. But this all means that there is much more ant space available in here, so please comment any requested species in the comment section, and I will see you in the next update where I'm introducing some very Pacific golden ants. Have a fantastic day!